Okay, go ahead, Adam.
I still want my charger, so if anybody has seen my charger, it was there. I need to have it at some point soon. It was there last night, and it's strangely disappeared.
Okay, Andrew, you have something to. Hang on before you make a comment. Do you want to say something in the session we're about to start, or in the one we finished?
I want to make a very brief comment about the previous session as a point of order.
Okay.
Okay, I realize that this may sound pedantic, but a lot of us were discussing this over lunch, and it was agreed that, with me as the spokesperson, we would appeal the decision of the chair to state that there was no consensus on the previous policy. Because in our view, there was a clear consensus, and the consensus was no, the policy has been rejected. We're not asking to kill the policy, we just want it recorded on the record that there was consensus that the policy had been rejected, and we are asking for a show of hands to confirm that consensus.
Thank you, Andrew. The last session, the decision of the co-chairs was that there was no consensus to move the policy to the next level. That is, there was no consensus to advance the policy to the next level. So if you think that is not correct, please go through the PDP process to appeal. Then we can then follow up on this. On that note, I would like to repeat again, there was no consensus to move the policy to the next level. And so it's been sent back to the mailing list for further discussion. Thank you. On this note, I will ask Adam to start this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We need the clicker. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay, we're going to discuss two proposals today. First one is AFRINIC database update process. The second one is the Anycast resource assignments in the AFRINIC region. The proposal for the AFRINIC database update process by Jean Robert is at the URL below. It was submitted in May. The proposal asks to AFRINIC to, well, yeah, I guess I'll give it to you. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Adam. So first of all, I would like to thank few people, the community, at Andrew, for helping moving the Franglish version to a correct version. Ernest from AFRINIC, the PDP chair, my team, and the community. So what I was trying to do, and as you heard this morning, there was a first version of this proposal, and it was withdrawn because AFRINIC staff told us that there was already an internal process for quality data in the RUIS database. And then the staff came back and kind of what I understood was a request for help to put back this policy. So from a start we received on April 2014, AFRINIC staff told us that 79% of the current members' portfolio are yet to confirm accuracy of their contact information in the AFRINIC database against 21% whose confirmation are still pending. I'm a little bit curious to have the statistic today on where the internal cleanup process from AFRINIC stand. So if we recall the AFRINIC RSA, AFRINIC already maintained accuracy through member interaction, through data reviewing before annual billing cycle, and also by doing routine check and validate of who is contact information where member request additional resources or services. And AFRINIC members are committed through the RSA to maintain their data always accurate. And there is also, I believe, a process inside MyAFRINIC. But the issue are that, and that's the only reason why I bring this policy back, is that there is a urgent need for database accuracy. As an example, from the incident response standpoint, we have received from February to the last one was yesterday, but I will not count it. So from February to November 2014, we have received 17,020 requests for assistance from outside the continent to contact people for issues related to IP addresses, which are doing different kind of malicious activities. So when we look at the issue roughly, we found that people were leaving company, were not any longer the contact, so the database were not maintained. Maybe there are some malicious intent, I don't know. So several reasons. I even withdrew recently a sub-allocation policy because that's also the same reason. You contact a company and they told you no, an LIR, and they will tell you no, this block is sub-allocated to this company, but there is no information about it. There is no way to contact those companies, and most of the time, we had to go through different process to contact the resource owner. So the goal again for this policy is to obtain quality data, to have something done, to have something done at AFRINIC level. And we are also pursuing a different path or additional path through a regulatory agency in countries, CSERT, etc., in terms of education to tell people that we need quality data in the WHOIS database. So I have a set of questions to AFRINIC staff and to the community. Basically, what the policy does is it sets up a timeline for different action to take to obtain a kind of quality data in the WHOIS database. So my question for AFRINIC staff, what is the current status of the update process you are running? What prevents you to enforce the RSA? I believe that there is already an RSA in place, so why do we still need, or do you need additional mechanisms to enforce the RSA? And is there anything the community can do to help obtain an accuracy in the WHOIS database? And my question to the community, people are signing an RSA that is not respected. Why? What can we do to give authority to AFRINIC staff to enforce the RSA? And since we have people from other regions in the room, what is being done in the other region to kind of have better data available in the WHOIS database? So I don't know if I need to go through the proposal, but basically it set up a cleanup process with different timeline, 30 days, 60 days. It defined a grace period where if people doesn't respond, their name and some information will be published on the website somewhere so that people can see that those data are not updated. And it called for even the possibility of AFRINIC staff, if people has not responded several times after a year, to claim the resources back. So the floor is yours. I don't know if someone from AFRINIC can give us further information about the current status and what prevent them to enforce the current RSC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now open the floor to questions.
Hi, this is Alan Barrett. I'm going to say the same thing that I've said a few times when proposals like this have come up. Firstly, I think it's a good idea to clean up the who is information. Secondly, I think we already have a registry services agreement which empowers the staff to perform the same cleanup without needing a policy. But let me add something that I've not said before. Perhaps I should ask the staff, would having a policy like this help you? It's my belief that the staff is already empowered to do this kind of cleanup and to revoke resources, but maybe the staff would like to have a policy that they can point to give more weight to what they're saying when they contact delinquent members. So I would very much like to hear from the staff on that point.
Well, that fits in very well with the fact that I accidentally skipped a slide here. The staff did do an assessment when this came up in Lusaka. They talked about this there. So, no major legal or operational issues to report. Staff talked to the author after he withdrew it to reactivate this proposal. So the staff apparently feels that this is a useful proposal. So there is a project happening internally, but there has not been success with that. There are no operational or legal issues right now. I think if there are any staff who would like to speak, I think we'd be happy to hear from them.
Okay, thank you. I am speaking as staff, but not as the staff that should be speaking about it, because Arthur, I do not see him in the room, and this request came specifically from the head of member services, and that's Arthur. He's the one that presented the stats, Jean-Robert, just to answer your question about what is the status of that project and what are the new numbers since you were last contacted. So Arthur would have those details. If he chances to pop in the room, I'll ask him to quickly give us that data. I can't see where he is now. However, to answer or to clarify the comment about what the registration services agreement says, there is clause 2G, which reads, the applicant shall provide and ensure accurate contact information stored in the AFRINIC databases, in bracket, who is and my AFRINIC. So the members are bound by the RSA to provide this information, and it was basing on this clause that the member services went ahead and reached out to the members to get them to have their information reviewed and updated, and this when they did not realize register progress or the progress they expected, that's when they reached out to the community to see if perhaps it can be enforced through a policy. Now, about what can be done based on the RSA, I believe that that is better, that ASHOC is better placed to comment, but I believe the RSA is very clear. Members are requested. Members are supposed to maintain their contact information, to have the contact information updated all the time. And if they do not do that, then it is clear that they will be in breach of the RSA. And I'll let ASHOC comment on whether or not, based on that, we can actually go ahead and revoke their membership and take back their resources based on that. I'll let Ashok talk about that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, let's let Ashok.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Now, if we go to the basics, we have a contract between AFRINIC and the members, which is a bilateral agreement, and all the clauses of that agreement has to be observed at all times. Purely from a contractual perspective, if one of the parties doesn't deliver on the obligation, legally the contract can be broken, it is breached. But since we are dealing in a community environment, being too rash also about using the guillotine on a breach of contract may not be the most convenient way to manage things. But then I, for one, would believe if the community feels that this could be elevated to the status of a policy, which gives more groundings to whatever claim or complaint we can make against a member, it might be something envisageable. But this would involve getting the policy written, coming to the meetings and having it discussed when members should, since they have subscribed to an agreement, just live up to the agreement. That's the simple matter. And when members do so, they render service not to themselves, but they render service to the community as well. And as Jean-Robert was saying, unless we have truthful, reliable data, maybe this may not be the most convenient way to communicate. Better data, reliable data, up-to-date data is the rule of the day. Whether it comes through the RSA or a policy, for me doesn't say much. We have got just to comply and live up to our subscription to the clause. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Andrew, or Mark.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I believe that anything that makes our staff's life easier is probably a very good thing. The staff obviously see a need for something along these lines. If I look at remembering that I used to run the co.za system, one of the things that we implemented was obviously we would send invoices to an email address, and if the person didn't pay or didn't get the email, then they couldn't pay, and therefore the fact that we sent out invoices according to an email address meant that at least some of the information was valid. And I believe that sort of thing is a good idea, but we do that already. So at least we know, well, we believe we know that the contact email addresses are correct or eventually get to the right person. If I was doing this, I would also have a button on the my.afrinic.net website, so that on occasion when a person logs into the system, if they haven't been there for a while, let them push a button to say, yes, my information is up to date. I would obviously try and automate this as much as possible. There is a cause for it to, there is reason to have some sort of update process. So I would support a policy along these lines, certainly.
So, Mark, that sounds like support. No need for a response, but just summarizing. And then also a statement around user experience and how the website owners can use things like intermodals and stuff like, or modals to help people get the information that we need in addition or in lieu of to this proposal. Do you have any response before we go on, Andrew?
Hi, Andrew, again wearing the same hats I was before the break. For myself, I need to state my opposition to this policy. More because I've got concerns which potentially can be addressed. So I'm saying the opposition, I will reserve that until I've heard everybody, and potentially my mind can be changed here. That being said, firstly, the last sentence of the summary of the proposal, if we can bring that up, just go back. Go back. Go back again.
Oh, forward again? Okay.
No. Back, right to point 1.
Here.
Point 1.
Okay.
No, that's not it either. Okay, well look, let me read what was up there and what I'm reading on the, there we go.
The very beginning,
There we go.
okay.
Firstly, just for the sake of accuracy, the last sentence in that paragraph, I think is subjective and unjustified, and I'd ask that it be removed because I don't think there's any evidence to back that statement up, and I really prefer that our policies don't contain things that are subjective. So that's just a minor point for the author. Then I have concerns about policies that have impact that could lead to revocation of past space when that is covered in the RSA, because I believe that it could potentially have the impact of creating liability, and we have to tread very, very carefully there as the PDP. I also have some issues with the PDP stating explicitly that an organization cannot claim a refund. If such things are stated, I would say that they are more the remit of the bylaws or potentially the RSA than the PDP, but that is just an opinion. And again, it comes down to a potential liability issue. And so from my personal perspective, I'm not comfortable with 3.3.6 as it stands at the moment. Just my perspective.
Thank you. Do you have a comment? Okay, let's keep it going.
Yeah, I'm Nikweno from Ghana.com. I will not be able to answer the question whether I support or not until I've got the answer, so bear with me. I have a question. What is missing in the RSA that we want to now put in this policy? Depending on the answer, I may be swayed to support or not support. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nee. I will attempt again to answer that question on behalf of Arthur, who pushed this to the PDP. My understanding about what's missing in the RSA that this policy might solve is simple. The RSA has just a clause that requires all members to always keep their contact information in who is on MyAfriNIC up to date. And that's all. And we interpret that directly as if that information is not up to date, those members are in breach. And once you're in breach, we can revoke your membership and everything you have, your resources. And as Ashok said, we think that is a little bit, I don't want to use the word harsh, but it might be, a little bit harsh to follow that process, and reaching out to the community for a method that can be implemented through a policy was what Arthur thought perhaps was necessary and a little more gentle. And involving, really. I hope that answers your question, Dr. Lee.
Well, so just, Ernest, to summarize what you're saying, I think what you're basically saying is that terminating the contract between the member and AFRINIC would be an extreme solution that is available via the RSA, and the goal from the staff's point of view might be to have more straightforward means of addressing this issue without resorting to a breach of contract.
Well, yes, yeah, because right now the interpretation of the RSA is simple. If your company A and I reach out to you 1, 2, 3 times to get your information updated and I don't hear from you, then according to the RSA, you're in breach. And once you're in breach, then I can right away revoke your membership. And that's where the problem is. Should we do that, or can there be other methods?
Ernest, I have a question for you, and maybe I will need a shock helps. So if I understand, if let's say that AFRINIC staff has somehow an internal process to deal with that, will it help?
Well, the internal process was there, and this is why when you initially presented that proposal in Lusaka, the efforts of the internal process were actually brought over in our assessment and shown to the community. The community was informed that, look, we're already doing this, and we think that this proposal at the moment, we said, let's first continue with our effort and see where it goes, okay? And as it turned out, the effort did not register as much progress. That means that of the, if I remember the data off my head, yeah, so of the 800 or so points of contact that were reached out to, I think only about 35% or so was the progress registered. So that means that all the others essentially are in breach, and the breach, would go ahead and revoke their memberships.
Yeah, this is Nikweno again. I'm wondering whether the RSA specifies the number of times before you can revoke. Meaning, I don't think it's there. My feeling is that it's an internal process that determines the effort you make before you decide that you revoke.
All right, we'll see what Ernest says.
Yes, the RSA does not specify the details of when and how often. It's an internal process, and that internal process, I think, is what has not registered the success that everybody hoped it would register.
If I may, Chair, just to give a further clarification to the community, the Section 7, Article 7 of the RSA, it is 7b, says the present agreement constitutes a legal, valid and binding obligation on it, and that same shall be enforced in accordance with its terms and conditions. It cannot be clearer. The power to cut off a member or to revoke the allocation is there. But as we said, since it stems from a contractual agreement, and it seems that there is a substantial amount of people there who are not playing according to the rules, this is the option. Can management, in theory, yes, in law, yes, it can do what we say it can revoke. But in terms of practice, in terms of convenience, can we follow that route without giving maybe anything more to the staff. If you are clinical, we go according to the warranty representative clause and act. But I still do not see really the policy, with the requirement of a policy just for that. Otherwise, we'll be discussing things which have already been incorporated in our RSA. I don't feel there is the need for a policy, but members maybe are in a better position than myself to see whether they are really equipped to enforce that particular clause. If they are not, can we be more specific on the RSA? We can. Or do we need a policy for that? Maybe rewriting that clause in the RSA could be the option. Thank you, Chair.
Ashok, I have a question. I just need your confirmation that there can be, I don't know, I don't know the legal terms or the way to tell it legally, but is there a way to add something on the RSA and say, for example, based on the internal process, this is an add-on to the RSA that people has to follow in order to give them time to update what is currently there?
But in theory, it can be done. We have to move to a proposal and amendment, have it publicized. It would go to the board and to the community, and then the RSA can be amended so that everybody knows why we have done it and for what purpose it can be done. The whole process of getting the RSA is a contractual agreement between AFRINIC and those who are seeking allocations. So if we feel at AFRINIC that we need something more to require compliance, better compliance, we can do the process, write an amendment, float it for publication, get views of the community, and proceed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alain Ayina, community member. So I think now it's clear that the RSA has the provision, okay, for what we are trying to do here. So I think what we need is maybe some kind of BCP, okay, a document to describe this process and run a call for comment, make sure we reach out to the members and make sure everybody agree on the process, and then we use the document. I don't think we need a policy, but I'll go for a BCP or supporting document and reach out to the members, go for call for comment, and staff can implement. So we'll see how it goes.
Elia, how would we come up with a BCP? I mean, we don't really have a...
Staff can propose a document. We used to have this kind of document we call supporting document. Then describe the internal process, and then we run a call for comment.
And would you be against this as a policy, just as a way to guide the staff towards creating a BCP, or you think that's too much overhead?
I personally don't think that we need a policy to import, because we already have the RSA. So if you go for policy to enforce what, I don't think. We need the process, okay, and get the community input, the community to endorse the process, and then we implement.
Okay.
Sunday Folayan. I was warned that I don't have a personal opinion again, so I will not express a personal opinion. I will express a fear of the board. And that's the fear that if we do anything that forces us to do things that would have impact on our financial position, when we have the option of addressing the same thing through the RSA if and when we need to, without being forced. I think it's important the community considers that before we force ourselves into a jacket we cannot take off. So I would say it's your call. Mine is to sound the caution from us who make sure that you are doing the right thing. Thank you.
You can go, Alan.
Yeah. Hello, Alan Barrett again. It seems to me that the RSA already gives the staff the power to clean up the who is and to revoke membership or revoke registrations from delinquent members who refuse or cannot be contacted. But this policy would not give them any more power than they already have. It would, however, force them to do things that currently they can choose to do or not according to the circumstances. So it would take away their discretion to give certain members different timescales in which to fix their whois. And I'm not sure that that's a good thing. Also, a little earlier, I asked whether the staff need this policy to have something to point to when they're negotiating with delinquent members. And I think I heard two conflicting responses for that. Ernest gave me the impression that the staff does want something like this as a policy. Is that right? And Ashok, I believe, said that there's no need for it. So I'm a little unclear on what... Okay, Ashok's not on staff, but still, it's the same kind of thing. It's AFRINIC, the organization, not AFRINIC as the members. Okay.
Ernest?
Yes, Alan. You answered the question you posed to me. I was just going to tell you that, yeah, Ashok is not staff. And, but yes, to underscore what I said earlier, once again, if the staff, the head of member services is not here, he would have been in a better position to clarify this, perhaps in better words. But the way I understand it is that the staff fully understand what the RSA says, and this is why when this proposal initially came up, the staff were already doing, they were already engaged in reaching out to members to get them to have their whois data updated. And this is why the author was advised that, look, we're already doing this, and here's the progress, and we think we do not need this proposal now. And somewhere along the line, I think a year later or so, I don't have the exact time, when this did not register the progress that had been hoped for, that's when the same staff reached out to the author again and said perhaps a policy can help achieve better results. Madhvi, please.
Yeah. Madhvi.
If I may add something to this proposal, because when staff initiated the contact update project way back, I know it was coming from the registration service department. What we had observed was the process was very resource intensive. Our members do not, the feedback from the members was much below our expectations. We reach out to our members, we tell them, look at this this is your contact information. Please advise if it's updated. If anything has changed in there, please mention what it is. We'll do the update for you. Unfortunately, from experience, I know, and we still face that during our day-to-day activities, that our members are not that responsive regarding the contact update information. We do try and get them to update the contacts, but that is when we really need AFRINIC assistance. We don't move forward unless they have done that. There could be other ways of AFRINIC not relying on the policy to get the contact information updated, because one of our objectives in the strategic plan is to have an accurate and reliable registry. Okay? I'm thinking in terms of member portal where we do give the members the option, but the question here is, are our members responsive enough? Do they know what the RSA, what clauses the RSA has? Or do they, as soon as they sign the RSA, yeah, that's a contract, and they file it away and they forget about it, but maybe they would know more about the policy. So I really don't know the balance there. But from AFRINIC, if there's something extra that we could do, is because the contact update process is resource intensive, then there may be a need of automating it or getting more resource persons on board to be able to get updated contacts. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll let a response here, but also we'll start cutting off the line at this point. Okay.
Okay. Moi, c'est Grégoire Eoui.
I'm Grégoire Mouy. My proposal was concerning the FOAC. The application of this would ensure that we could breach the contract with a member. It says also we could also modify. So my proposal would be not, therefore, to have the penalty fees. The members could pay instead of a breaching of a breaking of the contract. Thank you.
This is Nikweno again. Evidently, making a policy will not strengthen the contract. Contract is more binding. I get the feeling that staff may need to be empowered to be a little bit more aggressive. I don't want to specify whether it's from the AFRINIC or from letters, or, I mean, I think that's really up to them, but they should be less laid back and make much more effort to reach members one way or the other. Perhaps sometimes they should visit members and so on. I mean, it's really up to them, but we should empower them to be a little bit more aggressive or more forceful to clean up the data. That's about where I'll leave it.
Alan?
Hi, Alan Barrett again. Yes, I still think we don't need this policy. However, I don't object to it, except for one little point, which I'll get to later. I think that the staff already has the power, but maybe they're not using it. They already have the power to do just about everything that's in here. In fact, no, absolutely everything that's in here. They have that power, maybe they're not using it, so I don't think we need the policy. However, I don't object to the policy, provided we make one little change to address something that Sunday articulated when he was speaking on behalf of the board. Towards the end, when it's been 12 months without any update and you can't contact them, the current proposal says that AFRINIC must terminate their membership agreement. If we change it to may instead of must, to give a little bit of leeway there, where maybe in exceptional cases they might choose to not terminate the agreement, then I could support the proposal, even though I think it's not necessary.
Thank you.